I'm just going to say the line in English, okay? So, let's go. Bah, bah, bah. Oh, only I could have a day off or something. Wait, is that a bus with a poster saying have a day off, which in a chocolate bar, but it's pretty much sort of telling me to have a day off? Ooh, I can imagine myself taking the woman on the poster's place and kind of giving myself a wink and pretty much kind of insisting that I have a day off. That sounds like a really good idea. Okay, I hope this doesn't lead to any hijinks and silliness. It led to hijinks and silliness. Okay, what should I do now? That bus over there's got a poster saying, get going. It's promoting trainers. But it's kind of telling me to get going to the big city to help the farmer and bring him home. That sounds like a brilliant idea. Right, on to it. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm off.
Wonder of surprise, the open blue skies reflecting in our eyes, in a photograph captured as we laugh like we always do.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Shaun the Sheep Movie, the first Shaun the Sheep film, and I believe it was the 5th film from Aardman, 5th or 6th. Chicken Run, Wallace And Gromit, The Cursed Away Rabbit, Flushed Away, After Christmas, Pirates. Yeah, this was the 6th one. Early Man's the 7th, and the next film will be Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon, or A Shaun the Sheep Movie Farmageddon, which should be the 8th Aardman film. Okay, so before Farmageddon comes out in cinemas, I thought it would be a great time to revisit the first installment, which I saw in cinemas in 2015. I'll be doing the same with Frozen, which I saw in cinemas in 2014, so it will count as a main channel review before the second film comes out, which will definitely be a main channel review if I am able to catch it. So for Farmageddon. So, how does Shaun the Sheep movie, the first one, stand out? Well, to be honest, I think this is a fantastic movie. Not only do they use stop motion in an outstanding way, as per usual, it's Aardman after all. I mean, that was one of the positives of Early Man, that the stop motion was brilliant. But I think the script is also amazingly written, and I think it gets quite a lot of the jokes right. I think there's only a few times where some of the jokes don't quite work, and that's mostly when they're following dramatic moments. And this film is surprisingly dramatic. As the plot sees, Shaun is getting tired of the same old daily routine that he and the other sheep are going through by the set by the farmer and Blitzer. Or Bitzer. This is after a few minutes where we actually see them have in their younger days actually having a bit of fun with each other, kind of like act like a family. This is a new dynamic to the characters, as we didn't see that in the original TV series. I mean, Shaun and Blitz were pretty much besties, I suppose, but we didn't see them and the farmer getting on so brilliantly as they did in those first couple of minutes. And this is quite important to the rest of the story, as Shaun's and his flock's little escapade to get out of doing the same old routine on presumably a Friday. So because of this, they accidentally cause the farmer to go to the big city. And when he gets there, he gets hit on the head by one of those big lights on a zebra crossing and falls on top of him and causes him to have amnesia or memory loss, as they write in the film, probably so it's easier for younger audiences to understand what's going on, because if they might not know what amnesia means. So Blitzer goes after them, but he gets into a bit of trouble himself, and so the Shaun and the flock, well, Shaun first and then the flock later on, they follow. However, they encounter Trumpter, a animal control unit guy, who serves as the film's main villain. And he's kind of a big roadblock in their way. So they disguise themselves as clothes. And a very good joke, animal charity for the charity shop. So they get some clothes from there. Very good pun. There's some really great puns and some really great jokes in here throughout the film. Like with Wallace and Gromit, they're just brilliant. Nice little funny moments. And so throughout the next couple minutes, Shaun and friends have to go around trying to find the farmer. Eventually, Shaun gets caught by Trumpter, and he's taken to the animal correction unit, I suppose, which is pretty much a pound in the UK. Like in America, they have pounds for cats, dogs, and stray cats and dogs, and bad, naughty animals. Here we get some good kind of prison jokes, I guess, plus a Hannibal Lecter reference. By the way, that's probably one of the best jokes in the film. It was a cat doing that. So that was funny. Shaun and Blitzer are reunited because of what happened with Blitzer. He's now here, as it turns out. And soon the flock then hatch a plan to help Shaun escape. They don't really succeed, but Shaun manages, Shaun and Blitzer and a stray dog that helps them manage to escape anyway. And they all band together and they find the farmer, but as he's now lost his memory, he's escaped from the hospital due to him fearing that he's going to be hammered on the head by a guy, when in fact the guy was going to hang up a picture that the farmer accidentally knocked down earlier. What he really is fault, because the doctors were tapping his arms, tapped to see if they were funny bone or something. To be honest, having a tap to the elbow or the knee wouldn't really make me laugh. It would make me go, ow! Anyway, the farmer's now become a hairstylist at this hair place after some sort of flashback makes him slightly remember he's good at doing this, and he's given this rich guy a cool hairstyle after his hair was ruined in the scene where Shaun and company kind of caused some havoc at the restaurant. And so the farmer's now a really famous, really popular hairstylist, all within a matter of hours, I guess. Minutes even, perhaps. I know news and trends travel fast in 2015, but all of this takes place within a day at the most. So, yeah, I know he's popular, but he can't have gotten that popular that quickly, could he? I mean, popular, yes, people would want to come and see him, but to go so far to have a photo shoot and have billboards popped on top is a bit far-fetched. I know this, like most of the Shaun the Sheep stories, and pretty much Wallace and Gromit as well, do follow cartoon logic. That's what A Grand Day Out, the first Wallace and Gromit short film, did. It pretty much they all follow cartoon logic. But if this is a time thing, it's a bit strange. Anyways, the flock tried to meet the farmer. However, because of his memory loss, he doesn't remember them. So the gang are pretty much at their lowest point, probably ever, and go with Skip, I believe her name is, the dog, to basically a rubbish tip area, where they just hang out for a bit. They're, depressed, I should say. They're depressed, kind of have a mope and cry. There's a nice little bit where they sort of do an a cappella tune to the song from the very start, which is a fantastic song, by the way, and that is possibly one of the best scenes in the movie. It's just so beautiful and handled really well. And also the farmer hears and he's sort of getting some stuff back into his head, and also his memory loss paper that he had finds its way to Shaun, which is when they realise he's got memory loss. So that's when they devise the plan to get him back home. Eventually they devise the scheme, and after a couple of comedic moments, they manage to get the farmer and they bring him back to Mossy Blossom Farm after a pretty much race against time, as well as also Trumpter is on their tail, and literally and figuratively. And after some really cool bits with him and chasing after them, they manage to get back, and looks like everything's coming to a wrap up. Everything's coming to a really good, really happy ending. But then Trumpter kind of goes a bit psychotic at the very end, and he tries to kill everyone. But thankfully, the farmer remembers who he is after seeing a window reflection of him cradling the Blitzer and the sheep, and he then remembers the good old days, I suppose, and then eventually they're able to stop Trumpter, and the bull who actually helped them a little bit getting back gives Trumpter a knock over the the quarry. By the way, I like how the quarry is called Convenient Quarry. That was a nice joke. Of course, he lands in manure. He hates manure, he probably says, like Biff Tannen in the Back to the Future films. And then everything ends up happily. Trumpter he's probably fired from his job. He's probably not arrested, but he's gotten a less notable job, being the new chicken person holding up a sign for a chicken place. And everything's back to normal on the farm, and in the city things kind of go a bit, kind of calm down a little bit. Also fun enough. There's a really good joke throughout the whole animal correction facility segments, where you got this kind of dog who's kind of staring at Blitzer and later Trumpter, and he's not making any movements. It's quite funny. And then at the very end, you find out that it was a kind of a cardboard cutout, and this guy has managed to dig his way out. That's a good joke. Yeah, so some really good bits and some really great bits. My only kind of criticisms with some of the jokes is that some of them do come after dramatic moments and they don't quite work. Like Trumpter's escape, well, not escape, he's the other correctional facility people get him out, and then he gets out the big taser gun. I think it kind of comes a little too soon after a bit more of a sad dramatic moment with the other characters. I thought it was a bit too soon. And I think there was another one that was a bit too comedic, came after a quite dramatic moment. But I do think most of the jokes land, and some of the in-jokes and some of the kind of references and some really nice, really cool obscure ones. They're really cool and really funny. It's his usual Aardman, especially Nick Park characters. They usually do really great jobs with all of this. And I think it works for the most part. It's just that a few comedic moments just undermine some of the dramatic moments in some places. All feel a little out of place. But that doesn't derail the enjoyment of the film, and it doesn't really derail the storytelling. I just think it could have been handled a little bit better. But that being said, I think it was a pretty brilliant movie, and it has some amazing stuff. And I think the characters were possibly at their best that they've ever been. I have seen a couple of episodes of the show when I was young, a few years ago, and yeah, it's a really great show. I highly recommend it if you can check it out. And certainly the movie is definitely one to check out, especially if you're an Aardman fan. So yeah, I'm going to give Shaun the Sheep Movie a 10 out of 10.
Once you were here, my worries disappeared. It all became clear. Nothing left to fear. You have got my back, keeping me on track, like you always do. Time of our lives, such a sweet surprise. Together, mystified, ever starry-eyed, beyond any price, pure as paradise, coming into view.
Yeah, originally I gave it a 9, but I think after rewatching it, it's just so good. There's a couple of jokes that follow dramatic moments that I think could have waited a little bit longer till they told them. Maybe it could have been another scene or some time in between. But besides that, I think it works brilliantly, and it works really well. And yeah, I mean, what else could you do for the first Shaun the Sheep movie after so many adventures, so many short adventures, around roughly 5, maybe 10 minutes sometimes? What else could you do for an 85 to 90 minute movie? Well, they take him to the big city, and as well as also flesh out some of the character development. And then after that, they can try doing something a little bit try other genres like sci-fi with the next installment. So yeah, so they probably chose the best route for the first installment before coming to doing other things later on, because this one definitely helps flesh out the characters from the show a bit more, and is able to give the characters more development, as well as new angles that we haven't seen before, and give them a great adventure outside the farm. So that's really cool. So yeah, and also I really like how the rooster is used. That's really great. And I like how at the end he has the go home on his sign. In fact, I think at the cinema he might even have come back on screen for a second and said, "I mean it." What, for a few seconds it says, "I mean it," and then went off, and then the sheep would come on with the vacuum. I'm not sure if it did happen, but it might have at the original cinema screening. Not on the DVD though, sadly. But anyway, that's Shaun the Sheep Movie. I'm hoping to see the second installment of Armageddon. Play on the word for Armageddon, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that, hopefully. And yes, that's it from me. Thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne YouTube channel. And eventually they are able to. I'm not 100% sure if he said that, if that happened, but I'm sure it might have. It might. I'm just going to say the line in English, okay? So, let's go. I'm here all week, folks. I'm here all week.